We left off here having looked at the full grading policy, and now we want to take a deeper dive into a lot of these different sections. So we're going to start off with the online MyMathLab homework. So when you look at your online MyMathLab homework, these are done outside of class time for the most part. I mean, if we have some class time and can log in some computers, that would be great. But for the most part, they're done outside of class on your own. It's going to be due every week as announced in class. And it's usually every Thursday is what I'm going to shoot for in this semester, but I might need to change that up. I might need to alter sometimes, especially as we get close to exams or whatever. Now you have an unlimited number of tries to do the homework problems before you submit them up until the due date. So you should be able to receive full credit, or at the very least in the high 90s. High 90s would be a good idea. So let me show you what this looks like a little bit. So when you go into MyMathLab, there it comes up, and you go to sign in. There it is. So you sign in with your username and password, obviously, not mine. And you'll have just a couple courses here. You're going to choose this one, which is 131.54. You won't have all those courses because, of course, you haven't been doing MyMathLab for as many years as I have. All right, so when you're in the course, you can click on this link over here for homework. And that'll show you my MyMathLab homework. And now the due dates are all super late. They're next year, in fact, but those will change to match what I said in the syllabus, which is usually about every Thursday you'll have some assignments due, except for usually the first week there isn't much to do. All right, so let me just show you how to do problems over and over and over. So I got this one wrong already, but I'm going to keep getting it wrong. There, it took a moment to load, but there's the problem. And I'm just going to type 2. I know 2 is the wrong answer, but I'm going to try 3 times. So for fill in the blank questions, you usually have 3 times. For multiple choice, sometimes only 2 or 1. And then it gives you a little red X, and it says, hey, you didn't get it right. The correct answer was 90. Fine. Now you can view an example. You can look at the textbook, which, as I told you guys, that's why you don't have to purchase it, because it's available online. And it'll pop right to the page of the textbook you're interested in looking at. There it is. It took a minute or so, but it got there eventually. So you can scroll through the book and see different pages and so on and read up on extra examples than the ones we do in class. Then what you can do is, after you've figured out what you did wrong and all of that stuff, oh, and there's always the view an example, which is very nice. Kind of guides you through what you should be thinking about. Then you click similar exercise, and it changes the problem a little bit, but with different numbers, and you'll be able to do it again. And there it is. And if you get it right that time, there'll be a little green check mark next to it, and that'll give you credit for it. And when you're done, you can just save. Now, if you're really stuck on a problem, you can always send it to me with Ask My Instructor. Also, if you think a problem was graded incorrectly or that kind of thing, you can send it to me that way. It sends me an email with the problem and what you submitted and stuff. Now, keep in mind, I might not agree with you. I might say, yes, that was correctly graded by MyMathLab. You shouldn't have gotten credit for it or whatever. Or I might say, yeah, I agree. I'll give you the points for it. So you never know. And if you're really lucky, I'll make you a YouTube video that shows you how to do it. Always nice. All right, so that's those problems in MyMathLab. And again, you'll be able to see all your homework and so on. You can see your 5% deducted from questions completed after the due date, which is what I mentioned right here. So your late assignments, you're penalized 5% every day. So after 2 days, it's 10%, 3 days is 15%, and at a certain point, it becomes a failing grade no matter what you try. You want to make sure that you've opened the assignments. However, there's been some issues with students, if they never even started an assignment, cannot do it after it's late. So be careful. Make sure that you've at least opened all your assignments, clicked on them, and gotten into them, so that way it loaded the problems for you. But you do have an unlimited number of tries up until the due date. So that's really nice. And I, of course, have a bunch of videos online to help. Less so for 131 than 133, but there's still a bunch there. And I can always make more if the need arises. Now, in classwork is where a lot of our day-to-day grind is. So we'll have, worksheets that we work on, group work that we work on, notes that I'll collect, quizzes, all sorts of things. So whatever I do in class, especially the worksheets, because we do those a lot, you are responsible for, even if you're not there. So if you miss a class period because you are absent, you are still responsible for completing and submitting the worksheets that you missed. In other words, the class went on without you, and you cannot wait until you get back to start doing it. You actually have to do it even while you're gone. So students must go to my math lab, click on class worksheets. They download and print off the appropriate worksheet missed. You complete them and submit them by the start of the next class with no exceptions. Now, that means that if you miss 2 days in a row, which would be extremely unwise in a college level math course, but say you do, then that means that you need to email me a legible, clear PDF scan by the time of the start of the next class, or you will take a 0 for that assignment. Period. The end. The other option is to put it under my door, somehow physically get me the copy of the worksheet. Okay? But you cannot be gone for a week and then come back and bring me all your late work. I will not accept it. So once essentially the next class period is started, all bets are off. You need to either have it in or you have a 0. They will not be accepted any later than this, and this is the only late work that will be accepted. So projects may not be done late, quizzes may not be done late, other assignments that I may give you may not be done late. The worksheets in particular fall under this heading, and let me just show you where it is in my math lab real quick. So underneath homework, you see where it says class worksheets. Leave that page, that's fine. I'll have them in here. Now notice it says to right click and open a new tab. This is a Google form that I'm using here, or Google sheet. So you right click, open in a new tab, and it'll come up over here, the worksheet. And you'll have to pay attention to the announcements on the front page of my math lab. So what'll happen is when I go to course home, I will post update announcements probably once a week at the very least, was how they will work, and they'll be right here. And you can click view all announcements and you'll be able to see every announcement that I've sent out. And I'll send them an email as well. That's why you got to make sure that when you sign up for my math lab, you use an email that you actually check, because I will be sending you emails and I expect you to check them. I would recommend checking your email at least every other day or so. Right, so they'll be in here. You'll be able to see a whole bunch of announcements. My internet's just being really slow. There they are. So they'll be listing out here, and it'll go from the newest one down to the oldest one. So this one will end up being at the very bottom of the announcements page. But all the announcements I make, and I'll send updates about what's coming due, what's due when, etc. And I'll send them out once a week, and you should check in there for what worksheets and so on you're missing, so that way you know to do them and submit them in case you are absent. Okay. I'll also post PDFs of the class notes from class. So if you miss, you can at least get in there and write down the notes that you missed. It's not as good, of course, as being in class. And just like the other page, this will be a Google document, and therefore you'll have to be able to right click and open. But there are no links to put up because I haven't taught any notes yet. But I will as of today, because today it just turned midnight on my screen. Okay, so that's class notes. Just on another couple things, there's some My Math Lab grades here, so you'll be able to see your homework grades. I will actually post a grade book as well that'll have My Math Lab as part of it, but it'll have everything in it. So I'll show you that later on in the course when we make that. And there are some other items in here like course tools, document sharing, email. Email is great because then you can email me from it. Let's go back to the main menu. My Math Lab grades. Study plan is in case you want extra problems. Say you've done all your homework and you want some extra practice, you can go in here. Chapter contents is the textbook, and student success, tools for success, multimedia library. There are actually videos and PowerPoints for every single section of the course, so you can go find extra help and extra examples in there. I think I'm going to move course tools further down in this list, but just FYI, there's just tons of information in here. You literally can watch lecture videos by the author, by other people that the company has hired to show you all sorts of things here. Let me just click a chapter here. So chapter 5. Actually, I should do chapter 10. Chapter 11. That's a chapter we do. And this is all the stuff that's available. I mean, PowerPoints for every section, video lectures for every section, the textbook, more videos. Look at all these videos that are available to you from the author. So all of that is yours in my Math Lab. And of course, these will be different than the ones I did, which might not be a bad thing. Give you a different perspective, different way of thinking about things, etc. And this, of course, means that there's a lot of help available to you here in my Math Lab. There's actually on the course menu, there's tools for success. There's a whole calculator help section as well. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff in here for you. Okay, so then a project, there will be one mandatory project, just one. It's going to require a little bit of internet, YouTube, and Excel. Oh, I just thought of something else before I walk away from my math lab. In your homework, if you have poor internet connection or you just don't like working on the internet that much or whatever, let me just show you because some students don't like working on the screen or if they're working off their phones, it's really small. So let me click on a homework assignment so you can see it. And here it came up, and I'm just going to pick any question. It doesn't matter. And there it shows up. And you can see that it loaded all the questions I was going to need. So there's like 12 of them total. What you can do is you can click on the print feature. I'm sorry, I forgot about this earlier. But you can print it, and it's going to ask you, what do you want to do? Do you want to print the question, or do you want to print the entire assignment? Now, if you're having trouble with a question, you can print that question and bring it in. I can help you, tutors can help you, and so on. You can actually print your entire homework assignment. So you go into the Center for Student Success or something like that, and you can print the whole thing, work on it with tutors and so on. And then all you have to do is go back in and type the answers you found with your tutor, and you're done. So let me just show you what one of those would look like. It takes a moment to load though. There you go. It took a moment, but this is what it comes up with. And you can see it's a worksheet essentially. I've actually used these in the past as worksheets in class, so very handy. And you can just print them off. You can go in and print chapters worth and then use them with your tutors, get help, and then all you have to do is go back in and type in the answer because the questions will be exactly the same. So when you go back, the only way they wouldn't be the same is if you got it wrong and needed to click a similar exercise and get a refresher. So it'll be the same questions as you printed off that will be online, and you'll be able to spend a lot less time on the computer itself. So a lot of students really like that option. Another option is to use a whiteboard as you're doing these. So as you're working on problems, I'm going to leave this page. So as you're working on problems, if you have your whiteboard right next to you, you can just write down the problem and figure it out right there without having to use tons and tons of paper. So a lot of students really like using whiteboards as they work on my math lab. All right. Then let's see, we also have exams, of course. Now, on each exam, there's going to be a standard formula sheet that's going to be given to you by the instructor. The final exam is cumulative for the entire course. Now, if you're curious about what that formula sheet looks like, it's also in the course pack. It's towards the back of the course pack. There's like 4 pages of formulas, and not all of them are used for every exam, but you'll be given the packet, and you can just use whatever you need on that particular exam. Obviously, exams are important to us, so you can't make them up except under extreme, well-documented circumstances. Final decisions as to whether or not a makeup exam will be allowed rest solely with the instructor. So you have to contact me immediately if there's a problem. Don't wait a week later and say, oh, did I miss a test? Oh, okay. Then can I make it up? And the answer is going to be no, you can't. You have to get a hold of me. I've given you a number to text me at. Text me. Find out what's going on. Let me know what's going on, and I may require documentation. So I may require you to bring me, slips of paper from the funeral or so on to prove that something was going on. Makeup tests must be taken before the exam is passed back to the class, so the next class period, or 0 will be given for the exam. The final exam is during the last week of the course and cannot be taken early, so do not plan your schedule, your travel plans during the final week, or you will not be able to take a final and you will be very unhappy. Now, our class, especially because it's lessened in time, we have less weeks to work with because we're a shorter class. We will definitely be taking our tests in the testing center. So be prepared for that. Start planning your life around that. Let me grab the testing center hours for you to see. So here it is. So it's in Atkinson building, Atkinson Library, and it's in room 118. And these are the hours this semester. So you will have to schedule hours in your week to go take it. What'll happen is I'll put it over there for at least a week. So I'll announce in class, usually the day we review for the exam, that, hey, the paper and pencil exam is over there. So you will have to set up, you don't have to set up a time, you just walk in and take the test. You'll have to have a driver's license or a valid either federal or state ID. Your student ID does not count. I don't know why, but that's just their policy. So And make sure that you have a pencil, have your calculator. Do not have your phone because you won't be allowed to take it in, that kind of thing. And they will give you your test. You will sit and take it in. It's a paper and pencil test, not online or anything. And then when you're done, you just turn it into them and you leave. Simple as that. And I'll give you about a week. I like to at least have one weekend in there so that way you guys can take it on Saturday or Friday if you need to. Okay, so now we'll go back to the syllabus. Let's stop right there at the testing lab, and I'll see you back here for discussing intermediate grading.